All right, hello. My name is Jason. I use he, him pronouns. We are going to play this game called Alien World. It's a game I've been developing for a year or two now. This is a sci-fi survival horror story game. I've taken the best bits of a bunch of games that I like, mostly Zombie World, also Free Illegans, Alien RPG, Cartel, Escape from Dino Island, two games by Alan, who's here with us, Against the Dark Conspiracy and Alien Dark. So I've stolen or borrowed a lot of bits and pieces, mashed them together, and hopefully it's fun. Um, just briefly introduce yourself with your pronouns. And if you were to go to a desert island, you can only take one movie with you. Would it be Alien or would it be Jaws? Those are the only two options. Let me go clockwise around my screen, so I will start with Alan. Alan, tell us about yourself.
Hello. Fine. Hello. My name is Alan. My pronouns are he, him. You can find my gaming kind of efforts by searching Gallus Games, either on itch.io or drive-through. And for Alien rather than Aliens, I would take Aliens. But if all I've got is Alien, I think I'd take Jaws.
All right, good choice. What about you, Daniel? Tell us about yourself and your pick. You're
Muted.
muted.
Yeah, unmuted. So, again, my name is Daniel. My pronouns are he, him, and I work in film. I'm a film director. So it's really hard to answer this question for me because I would take a lot of films. But if it was between these two, I would take Alien because it is one of my
Okay.
favorite films.
Okay. And finally, Will.
Hi, I'm Will. My pronouns are he, him, and I mean, if I'm not allowed to take the cinematic masterpiece that is Alien versus Predator 2, then I will take anything. But yeah, I'd probably go with Alien.
Okay. And I am Jason. I use him, as I mentioned, and I would probably take, it's a hard choice for me, but I would probably take Jaws. I just find watching it, it's just so perfect. It's so iconic. A lot of movies from the 70s, you go back and you watch them, you're like, this is not aged well, but it's still perfect. I mean, it still works and it hits all the beats. I mean, Alien is no slouch either. So, two great movies. And we are mashing them together for this game. Hopefully, it works. Let's talk about our resources we're going to use. So I have provided these to you through Slack, the links. The first link is to the rules. You will not probably need it, but you can read it and refer to it if you want to. Most of the important bits and pieces will be found in the Character Keeper and in Roll20. By the way, if you haven't signed on to those, go ahead and do so. I think I don't see you in Roll20. But anyways, the manual's there. Take a look at it if you wish. Then let's go look at Roll20. We played this game, all of us, four of us, last year. And at that time, it used a lot of cards and stuff. But we're not doing that this time. I've changed it all over to more of a character keeper based thing. But we will use Roll20 for images, for maps, for handouts. And if you go and you look at it now, you'll see all those things. I think you guys have all used Roll20. Obviously, we played together using it last year, so I'm assume you're fairly familiar with the sort of mechanics of Roll20. But if you have any questions, be sure to ask. But there it is. And then finally, the Character Keeper. It looks like everybody's there. This is my first real, somewhat sophisticated Character Keeper. I think it works pretty well. I played this game with some folks last month. Seemed to work all right. But right now, we will talk about characters in a minute, but don't do anything. And especially there's about 7 or 8 tabs across. There's a bunch of tabs that say player 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 only. Don't look at those. We will talk more about those in a minute, but don't look at those for now. I don't know if there's anything else to say about the Character Keeper now, except for the Lines and Veils tab, which is about the 7th tab over. You guys will be familiar with this. Looks like some of you have already taken a look at it and made some decisions. Mark your lines, your veils, and your ask first. One thing I want you to start thinking about, we'll talk more about it in a minute when we talk more about safety, is to what extent you want PvP to be part of this game. When we played last year, the four of us with Paul, Daniel's character was a Xeno cultist of some form and tried to kill all of you, you may recall. And in playing this game, it is not uncommon for one or more of the characters to take on a antagonist role, to put it lightly. And it can I'm fine with it personally, but it can kind of become a very central part of the narrative, and it can take up a big chunk of the story. So, if you're cool with that, that's great. If you're not, or if you have any sort of limitations you want to put on it, start thinking about it, and we'll talk about it, like I said, when we get to safety. But I want you to start thinking about that because, like I said, it'll have a big impact on the way the story goes, which I'm fine with, but some people might not be. You will also find on the Lines and Veil tab the dice roller. We're just going to roll some d6s in this game, but go ahead and open that up, get that started. Let's talk about cats. Concept, this is a collaborative game. This particular scenario is more pre-generated than the one we played together last year, but I have made a point of leaving room for you guys to fit in your characters and your own stories and your own choices. So, that's definitely in my forefront of my brain. This game is meant to be cinematic. In the structure, it's meant to have 3 acts with building tension. The way we will structure it and the way a lot of the moves work, there will be sort of building tense action scenes, followed by quieter scenes to give you a chance for character development. As you're playing the game and you have the spotlights on you, and you put in your input, if you present things in a cinematic style, that will probably work well. Frame things like a movie, and you probably won't go wrong. Aim wise, we aim to tell a story. So hopefully we will provide a chance for each character to have a story arc and also an overarching story. This isn't really a playtest. I think I played the game enough that's kind of solidified. But like I said, there's been some pretty significant changes since we played it last year. So there will probably be some uneven aspects of the game that will need some editing and changing. So as we're playing, if you notice things that are confusing or don't work for you, feel free to jump in and say, hey, I don't understand this, or maybe we should do it this way instead. There's definitely going to be some on-the-fly editing and changes that we will do, and that's okay. Or you can save that all for the end of the session or the end of the run, for feedback. Tone-wise, as you'd imagine, with an Alien game, it's going to be dark and gritty, tense and foreboding. We will default to sort of an adult content and tone. It'll be pretty gory. There'll be body horror, that kind of, grody stuff. But then, given this particular scenario is meshing with a movie from the 70s that takes place on a sunlit, fairly pleasant island, we'll have, feel free to mix in some imagery and pop culture references back to things from the 70s and stuff. And I think we will probably all refer back to the movie Jaws at some point, and that's perfectly fine. Safety wise, content warning. So it's survival horror. There will be body horror. There'll be extreme violence. There will be sudden death. Death is very much part of this game. When I ran it last month, a couple people died, and we very quickly had them take on one of the NPCs became their PC, and it only took a few minutes to do that. So your character very well might die. Like in a horror movie, you might die doing something heroic, or you might die just out of the blue in a sudden and meaningless manner. And like I said, if your character does die, we will just pause for a moment, get you promote an NPC into a PC, and keep on rolling. This game, depending on your choices for Lines and Veils, may include drug use, it may include religious extremism, and it may include mental illness. Okay, now this is the part I was saying. In alien movies and to some extent even in Jaws, characters behave badly towards each other. Um, they can range anywhere from just arguments all the way to violent conflict and murder. Um, the game is designed in a way to mitigate that as much as possible, and you are able to opt in or opt out to be violent and nasty to each other. But like I said, if you have any thoughts, this is your moment to start airing those out about how you want to do, or whether you want to do at all any sort of PvP stuff. So anybody jump in if they have thoughts.
I mean, it seems to me that the whole alien thing is set up for there to be at least tension. So and sometimes that tension explodes into violence. So I don't have a problem being on the receiving end of that, or delivering it if necessary. But I'm happy to tone that down.
Everyone else, cool?
Yeah, I'm cool with it also.
Okay. And this can be an ongoing conversation. So if at any point we start to cross those lines and things, it's obvious the narrative is going in that direction. If you, like all things in our games, if you're uncomfortable, you just say as much, or X card, and we'll take care of it. Okay, so moving on, we're also going to follow the Open Hearth Code of Conduct, which you all know just means be generous and kind. Follow the lines and veils as much as you can. A couple of things I'd like to note is I very much like characters to enter scenes that maybe they haven't started in, but be sure to ask permission. If we have a scene going with a couple characters or just single character or whatever, and you want to enter the scene, say, hey, say X or Y, is it okay if my character, comes in the room? And we'll probably say yes, but, be sure to ask. If you're not in a scene, it's very much important to pay attention, and also mute. I am not great at muting, especially when I'm GMing, but I will do my best also. As always, the open door is there. If you need to leave, for whatever reason, feel free to do so. You can provide as much feedback as you want to, or as little, as to why you have to go and when you might be back, but that's up to you, and that's perfectly fine. We have our lines and veils, and at this point we have lines on sexual assault and violence, homophobia, racism, and sexism. We won't have that in our game. And then we have veils on harm to children, peril to pregnant women and infants, consensual sex, domestic violence, torture by PCs, and torture by NPCs. So that we will fade to black on, or only refer to that. We won't show that on the screen. Okay. And then the X card. If everything else fails, you can X card. I very commonly will not be looking at this screen, so say so. Make it apparent that you're X carding something, and you will get rid of whatever the objectionable material is and keep going. All right, so any questions so far? Going fast, throwing out a lot of stuff, but it's all probably pretty familiar to you guys. The course of the game. So any of the scenarios that will run in Alien World, you'll start with your characters will start in some sort of bad situation where over the course of the game, you must find some way to escape and hopefully save your life. At first, we won't know much about your characters. Mechanically and narratively, you won't have a lot to work with in the beginning, but through the course of the game, the mechanics and just the story will develop, and we will learn more and more about them. So if you only have a nub of a character in the beginning, that is fine. We'll build from there. As you explore locations or miss rolls, threat will build. This is a little different. It's a concept I'm sure you guys have seen in a lot of different games. But on the front, the character tab in the character keeper at the very top, there's a counter starting at quiet, moving all the way to end game, moving through some stages of threat. If you hover your mouse over threat, it tells you a little bit about how it builds. And then the different stages you can mouse over, and it'll tell you a little bit of what each stage means. But in general, what they mean is that we move up in threat. The threats will be more common. They'll be more aggressive. There'll be bigger and stronger and nastier threats that will appear. The threats will be more able to just immediately appear even somewhere that was safe. In the beginning, I will have to use a move or something, or I'll have to use some story to be able to break into your, your safe zone. But later in the game, I can just have a xenomorph appear wherever, pretty much. Threat always builds. There is no way to have it go back down. Other than that, it's pretty straightforward. And then let's talk about the dice mechanic. So basically, I've just taken the basic resolution mechanic we had last year, and I've just changed it from cards to dice with a few slight changes. But if you go to, I think is it in the Character Keeper? Yeah, in the Character Keeper, there's a tab called Resolution, Harm, and Miscellaneous Moves. This is also in the Roll20. A lot of the things I reference will be in the Character Keeper, but also you can find them in Roll20 as a handout. But on the tab Resolution, Harm, and Miscellaneous Moves in the Character Keeper, in the top left, it says Resolution Mechanic. So whenever you try to do something that's potentially difficult, we will have a short conversation and figure out how big your dice pool is. We'll ask a series of questions. The first question, by the way, you start with 0 dice. So we start with 0 dice, and then we will ask, does your PC have an expertise? Now, an expertise is provided by your role, your agenda, and your background. Each of those will have a name, and then the role for sure, and then usually the background and the agenda will have several other attributes that will be written as plus blank. So it might be plus strong or plus brave. So you can use the name of the role, the agenda, or the background, and anything that is an attribute plus whatever to try to make an argument that what you're doing, your character has expertise. If I agree, and usually I will on these, you just have to have some narrative explanation, but I will usually say, yes, that sounds great. You'll get a die. Then the next question is, does your character have the right tool for the job? Do you have a piece of equipment that would be perfect for what you're describing? It can't be kind of good or all right. It has to be perfect or really good. I will be much more stringent and conservative at giving out this die. And then there's a note that for some things, some weapons are just ineffective against certain monsters. So like a pistol is not going to be very effective against a xenomorph drone. It might be good against a facehugger, but not a drone. So take that into account. Going back to the character tab, one thing that's a little different too, there is a spot on the Character Keeper for gear. And there's two spots for drop downs. The drop downs are just to kind of give you the kind of classic stuff you find in an Alien or maybe a Jaws movie. And you're not limited to those things, though. They're just there to kind of just, spark your creativity, if you're trying to figure out what your character wants or needs. And then there's lots of other spots you can just write in stuff. Then there's a spot on gear. It says free items. You each have 2 free items. This is a Blades in the Dark style. You can create something out of thin air as long as you have some at least thin narrative justification why your character would have it. And that might be important to say for those moments when I say to you, does your character have the perfect tool for the job, the right tool for the job? And then you can be like, yeah, I'm going to pull out my machine gun out of my pocket. Then the third question we'll ask, going back to the resolution mechanic, is does your character have significant advantage? This can come from a lot of places. The first and most obvious one is, has our narrative established some reason that you can give why your character would have a significant advantage in this moment at what you're trying to do? And that could be a whole range of things. You can also get significant advantage as a result of a move or as an aspect of one of your attribute or one of your identity cards, your role, your background, and your agenda. And then the last question we'll ask is, does your character want to take a stress to push themselves and gain another die? And if you go back to the character tab again, you have a five box stress track. And once you get to 5 stress, and it's described again, if you hover over the word stress, it'll tell you a little bit about this. If you get to 5 stress, you are overwhelmed. And when you're overwhelmed, you can't do anything that requires you to take stress. If you don't immediately do something to do what's called the overwhelm move to reduce your stress, then I will take control of your character and have you do something rash and stupid. The overwhelm move is found under resolution, harm, and miscellaneous moves. It's at the far right towards the bottom. And this is where you do something, you either behave badly, you lose it, you use drugs, or you sleep as a way to try to reduce your stress. We do a die roll there, we figure out how much stress you get back, and then there's always some sort of consequences for whatever you've done. There's rarely do you do an overwhelm move without some sort of consequence. In fact, I don't think you ever do. Any questions so far on the resolution or anything? Good.
No, I think like a lot of mechanics, the questions will come as we start to use them.
Yeah,
I recognize the games these were from. So
sure. So bottom line with the resolution is you end up anywhere from 0 to 4 dice. If you end up with 0 dice, what you do is you roll 2 dice, but you take the lowest of the 2 dice. Again, that's from Blades in the Dark. You roll all your dice and you take your top die. Or if you get multiple 6s, that's a critical success. If you end up, your best die is a 1 to 3, that's a miss or marginal pass with a complication. If you get a 4 to 5, it's a partial success or success with complication. A 6 is a clean success, and multiple 6s is a critical success where you get some added bonus in addition to succeeding. I think mechanically that's pretty much everything we need to talk about up front. I think we're ready to start our game. Any last questions before we jump into the meat of this? Okay. Let us start with some exposition. I also sent you a short document. I don't know if you guys got a chance to look at it. If not, that's fine, because I'm going to read it now for our thousands of viewers to orient everyone. A little bit of exposition, a little bit about the scenario. It is the year 2181, 2 years after the events portrayed in Aliens and Alien 3. There are rumors of dragons and space beasts, but no public knowledge of the existence of xenomorphs. The island. Isolated on the frontier is a small water world. It was surveyed decades ago and found to lack any significant resources, and without any land masses to build on, was deemed to be too expensive to colonize. A small colonial exploration company bought the rights to the planet for a pittance and sponsored a second survey. This survey found an island just large enough for a small colony. The company financed a ship and attracted prospective colonists by promising them shares in any colonial profits. By the way, if you want to follow along, this handout is in Roll20 called Orientation, Background, and First Scene. History. The ship landed 10 years ago and was converted into the central administrative structure. So the actual ship itself was brought down and used to form the center of this colony. A small village and harbor was built up around the central structure, while the colonists established homesteads across the island. The company's plan, on Roll20, I'm going to move you to a tab. And also on Roll20, if I'm talking about something and you're like, I don't see what he's talking about, it's probably because I haven't moved you to the tab that I'm talking about. but I will move you to this one. This is just a kind of an abstract sort of map of the island. The company's plan was to make money by fishing the abundant squid, quote unquote, squid schools. The jellyfish-like squid on the planet are easy to catch with nets and can be processed into a high-quality protein slurry at the colony's cannery facility. Soon after fishing began, several colonists were killed by giant and aggressive squishies. Quickly, the colonists, oh, here's what a squishy looks like. They're about 6 meters across. It's giant nasties. Soon after fishing began, several colonists were killed by giant and aggressive squishies. Quickly, the colonists were able to develop a technique for killing the squishies. First, they would be baited to the surface by using a chum trail made out of protein slurry. Then they could be harpooned and electrocuted to death. After their mass slaughter, no squishies have been seen for the last 5 years. So the ship landed 10 years ago. The last squishy was killed 5 years ago. Geography and weather. The island is in a temperate zone with mild temperatures throughout most of the year. Predominantly easterly winds hit the Central Highlands and drop their moisture on the east side of the island, leaving the west side relatively dry. Back to the map. The east side is marshy with heavy vegetation, while the west side is scrubby with scattered light forests. The island is regularly caught in storm fronts that force any boats to stay in harbor or out at sea if unable to make harbor before the storm hits. The colony and structures. The main settlement is on the west side. You can kind of see it in the southwest corner of the island. There's a little inset map that shows roughly what the village looks like. The colony ship was grounded and partially buried, creating the main admin structure. Originally, the ship's fusion engine powered the colony, but it has been poorly maintained and is now deactivated. With a day or so of work, the fusion engine might be able to be restarted, and the ship could be made viable for space travel. Large solar fields now provide power throughout the island via elevated power lines. Power outages are common due to the storms. Most buildings have battery-powered generators to provide temporary backups. A small village and harbor was constructed around the admin structure. A rock seawall protects a harbor large enough for the colony's 20-odd fishing boats. A large processing plant / cannery dominates the harbor, with a line of fishermen's shacks and supply huts lining the shore. The village also has a few warehouses, supply shops, and rough taverns. Scattered across the island are several dozen homesteads of various sorts. Several families established farms or orchards, while a scattering of scientists, artists, and free spirits made their home in the countryside. Other than the admin structure, the buildings are made out of wood and stone and are fairly sturdy due to needing to be able to survive the fierce storms. The colony numbers around 200 people, but only about 50 remain on the island at the start of the adventure. In preparation for the Weyland-Yutani takeover, most of the non-essential personnel and dependents shipped out on the last supply transport about a month ago. The colonists use electric golf carts to move about. For long-range communication, there is a large comm tower at the top of the Central Highlands. For local transmissions, there is a radio tower in the village. Most buildings, each boat, and each golf cart has a CB-style radio. Any questions about the setup? Okay.
I suppose there is this question of the Weyland-Yutani takeover.
Right. Yeah, so we'll get more about that in a little bit, but yeah, that's a good question.
Okay.
Short version is that sort of out of the blue, Weyland-Yutani came forward with a very lucrative offer for the planet. And the company that you guys, the colony that you guys are part of, the company that owns it, said, okay, great. And you guys are all shareholders. So you're all likely going to get rich from this lucrative sale. That is sort of the the papers haven't been signed yet, but they're on their way to come take a look and sign off. And in preparation, like I said, most of the colonists, most of the dependents have left the island already. So there's only a handful of 50 or so people left on the island. We'll talk more about that as we go along, but that's the short version. Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about character creation. So going back to the character keeper, we have 3 characters. You guys pick one of these these columns that you want to be. Whether you want to be player 1, 2, or 3. And the first thing you're going to do is choose your role. So on the right side column of your character mat or your space is a drop down that has, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 choices. Do you want to be the marshal, the doctor, et cetera, et cetera? Take a look at them. Each one of them comes with a few expertise that they have. So a reminder that when you start, you're going to have the role. So you'll have the name of your role, whether it's marshal or doctor, and then whatever expertise they come with. You also can choose a weakness to start with. I see some people playing with backgrounds and agendas, which is fine to look at, but we won't choose those right now. I'll talk about those in a minute. But right now, choose your role and your weakness. Find an image. Name your character. Looks like Will wants to be player 1.
Mm-hmm. I just want to double check because we have Marshall, but I believe there's already a Sheriff Brody.
That's only if you look at People, Places, and Things tab, I have a picture and some words for each of the different roles.
Mm-hmm.
That's only if they're an NPC.
Okay.
So if nobody plays a marshal, then Sheriff Brody will be an NPC that I can play around with.
Okay.
That you guys can inhabit later. But if you choose a role, then it will trump whatever I already have written down. Your picture, your character, everything will be yours rather than what I have written down.
Then I'll take the marshal if nobody else is fussed with it. Yeah.
Fine.
Cool. Nobody wants to be the marshal. Okay. Sounds good.
I'm looking at the surfer, Alan, if you don't mind. I'll be the surfer dude.
Surfer dude. All right.
And I'm really tempted by enemy as a weakness just because I really like having an NPC to make a change, not having Alan as my enemy.
Yeah. Well, you could have that too.
I'm sure I will.
Your cake and eat it too. So for that one, we won't establish right in the beginning, but we'll play this first session, and one way or the other, we'll either pick or it'll become clear to us which NPC hates you and why. So it looks like what I'm going to do is I'm going to rename these tabs. Player 1 only is going to become Will only. Player 2 only will become Alan only. And player 3 only will become Daniel only.
Does that Lord of the Waterphobe that says if you enter the ocean even on a ship mean like on a boat?
Yes.
Okay, because when I read it the first time, I was like, if you enter an ocean while you're on a spaceship, I was like, wow, that's a big spaceship.
Oh, yeah. I suppose if you, well, yeah, if you were in a spaceship, you'd probably be all right. But
Yeah.
okay. So let's see. Choose a role. Those not chosen become NPCs. We describe that. Okay, so when you're ready, then you can look at the tab just for you. So Will can look at the Will only, Alan only, and so on. And I have not looked at these. My son made these selections for us secretly, so I don't know what they are either, which is a part I love about this game. And in Zombie World is that the GM doesn't even know the secret stuff. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go just to help describe these and describe how this works. You may recall how this works. We did this with the cards last year, but I'm going to go over to player 4, and I'm just going to pick a background, criminal, and an agenda, contrarian. Just to describe these. So what you're going to do is you're not going to put these on the character tab, but right now you're just going to secretly on your Will, Alan, and Daniel only tab, you're going to select one of the 2 backgrounds provided and one of the 2 agendas provided as yours, okay, that you're going to play with. And you just change the other one to the dash, okay? Get rid of it. And as we play the game, what you have chosen has no mechanical impact until you what's the term I use? Until you reveal it. And each of these cards has one of the first sentences. Well, first of all, it has the name of the card, so that will become, once it's revealed, you can use that for getting expertise. And then most of them will have another attribute that comes with it. So if I'm looking at my criminal card, it says choose one, plus hacker, plus assassin, plus smuggler, or plus burglar. So one of those 4 things would become in this case, would become an attribute that I could use. But most of them provide something like that. Contrarian has plus persistent. So that's the first thing you'll see on these cards. Then it'll say a sentence about what you have to do to reveal the card. So it'll usually be something narrative that you have to do to be able to reveal the card. And then you can reveal it, or you can still choose not to. You can go the whole game without revealing your cards. A lot of times what people will do is they'll sort of foreshadow aspects of their cards, which is a nice, cool thing to do, because then all the other players are like, oh, what is their hidden card? But anyways, the moment will come where you feel that you have done enough to reveal your card. It is totally up to you to make that decision that you've done enough to reveal your card. I don't know what your card is. I'm not going to look. I won't be able to, stamp with approval your decision. It's up to you to feel that you've done enough narratively to reveal your card. When that moment comes and you feel you want to do it, then you'll just go to your character keeper, scroll down, using the drop down, find your background, find your agenda, and bring it onto the character keeper. Okay. Most of the backgrounds and agendas will then also list special powers or benefits that the card gives you, maybe ways of reducing your stress, ways of gaining significant advantage. There's a range of things. And then the agendas always end with a short phrase about you win, quote unquote win, if you blank. Now, there is no winner. This is just a way to try to point your agenda in the right direction, just to give you a sense of that you're doing what your agenda wants you to do. And you probably recall from playing it last year, agendas usually are pretty powerful. They have a lot of impact on the narrative, on the story. So, pick your moments and recognize that once you reveal a card, everyone knows that about you. So if you pick the card, let's find a good one, Special Order 937, and everyone's going to know that, and they're going to know you're treacherous. They're going to know you're working, for the man, and they should respond accordingly, so that might lead to open murder or other nastiness, so once you reveal a card, it is known to everyone. So there's also mechanical pluses and minuses to revealing your cards. The main one is that the more cards you reveal, the better people can help or hinder you. And we'll talk about that mechanic when the time comes. But so that's the nuts and bolts of those cards. When go ahead and pick the background, pick the agenda you want to keep, but keep it on your secret tab for now. Any questions about all that? Should feel familiar. And then once you've done that, just taking a look, see where we're at. Looks like everybody's in good shape. The hard part, give your character a name, give them some pronouns, and find an image. You each start with a single piece of gear. You can also, you don't have to just use your free items to get gear. You can be like, I'm going to rummage through the storage room. And, we'll either just have you find something or roll dice to get, you can pick up stuff, in more normal ways too. But you always can use your free items to just magically have things. But right now you just have the one piece of gear to start with. James Caan. It's Can or Con? I can't remember how to say that. Con. Yeah. Con, not Con. The Marshal, the Thief, and the Surfer. Alan, let me ask you this. Buddy is a petty criminal. Why does the community put up with you?
Because I'm very good at repairing stuff. I've got jury rigging, so I can make things, out of nothing. I can rewire stuff, and the technology is a little flaky after all these years. So I'm a useful community member.
Okay. So far, your nasty aspects have not been outweighed by your positive aspects. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Daniel, what sort of illegal drug do you manufacture and smuggle off-world?
I'm not sure really. Maybe there is some kind of a substance from that you can get from some kind of algae that are in the sea, which has like I don't know. I'm not very
chemistry minded.
Skilled about chemistry minded, but maybe
would you say it's a stimulant, a narcotic, a psychedelic, something else?
Yeah, maybe a psychedelic. Yeah, let's go with that.
Psychedelic. Okay. Psychedelic algae.
Yeah.
So there's some sort of chemical process you have to do to refine it. You're doing secretly, and then we don't have to nail out the details right now, but you have some process in which you're able to, hide this stuff and smuggle it off world, probably via the routine supply transports that come to the planet.
Yeah, some kind of a trailer laboratory or something like that.
Yeah. Will Curtis Moss. What is the name of the planet?
The name of the planet is Praxis.
Praxis. Praxis.
Yep.
Okay. Is that Luke or Liam Hemsworth? Is that their names?
It's
Chris?
It's
Is it
Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah. Very good. Been buff. Curtis Moss looks like a burly fellow. Alan, buddy, what is the name of the island?
Hope.
Hope. Very good. And Daniel, what is the name of the company that you guys are shareholders in? Scott Cray. Just think
The
about
name
that.
of the company.
Go ahead. The name of the company, yeah.
The name of the company could be something like maybe something with the word organic in it. So maybe, or organic explorations.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Organic explorations. And I think I kind of described this just to kind of nail it down. So it's a small company that you guys all basically signed on to be indentured, more or less. They carried you on this colony ship out here to the frontier. And in return for you becoming a colonist, you are a shareholder. And your labor and creating the colony was all somewhat communal, but really the company owns things, right? And the CEO is also the mayor of your little community, your colony. We'll talk about him in a minute. And you're all due to get a big payout once this sale goes through to Weyland-Yutani. Looks like everybody is pretty much ready. Everybody got the main bits sorted. Anybody have any questions about the character? Is anyone not ready? Let me do a little bit more exposition, and then we will take our 10-minute break and come back and get into some scenes. Nice spot. This is called Vaughn's speech. Let me find Vaughn. This is Mayor Vaughn, the mayor and CEO of Organic Explorations. This gentleman here, roll 20. It is mid-morning. Most of the island's residents, including all the PCs, have gathered in the admin structure's meeting room. The storm has passed, but there is still a steady warm wind blowing. Only about half of the fishing boat crews are present. The rest are still out at sea, waiting for the waves to die down before coming back to port. Mayor Vaughn and the lawyer Kumar, that's this person. This is a lawyer they contracted to handle the paperwork and the sale. Mayor Vaughn and the lawyer Kumar are seated behind a folding table, and the mechanical tech Tucker, that's this guy, is standing behind them. Vaughn thanks the executive assistant Marge, and another NPC. This is Marge. He thanks the executive assistant Marge for a cup of coffee and begins to speak. Good morning. I've asked everyone to come because we have a bit of a situation. As some of you may have seen as you came in, one of our fishing boats is grounded on the seawall. Tucker noticed it early this morning, and the two of us rowed over and checked it out. Turns out it's the Nautilus, And I'm afraid to say there's been an incident with some fatalities involved, grumbling from the crowd. We found just one body, and we believe it's, well, what's left of Captain Jed. All signs suggest that we've had our first squishy attack in 5 years. More grumbling. Now, let's stay calm. All we need to do is hunt down this beast and take care of it the way we did with the others when we first landed. The thing is, we need to kill it quickly. The Weyland-Yutani representative is due to arrive in the next few days, and Mrs. Kumar tells me that there is a bit of, what you call it? Sharply dressed and composed, Kumar speaks. An escape clause, Mayor. If the Weyland-Yutani representative judges that the island is more dangerous than your disclosure documentation has shown, they may void the contract and even recover their very sizable deposit. Very loud grumbling at this. Hey now, no need to be concerned. All we need to do is get out there and catch this squishy. Now that we know it's out there, it shouldn't be any problem to catch it. All of our island's fine fisher folk know the bait and hook technique, and it should be easy, right? And to grease the wheels, the company is prepared to award one of our shares to the boat that brings the fish in and does it before Weyland-Yutani arrives. Excited murmuring at this. So the storm has passed. The sea should be dying down in a couple hours. We'll contact the boats still out there with the situation, and the rest of you get ready and get out there and get that thing, okay? The meeting breaks up. The crew's heading to their boats to get ready to set sail. Everybody, given the situation, starts with one stress. So go ahead and mark one of those stress boxes. Think about what your character would do secondary to this talk. We will take a break and we'll come back and see what happens. See you guys in 10. All right, welcome back, everybody. So let me just repeat a few things just in bold, just so it's clear. So there's been a big storm that has been hitting the island for the last few days, and a lot of the fishing boats that were out were kind of had to stay out at sea because they couldn't come into harbor because of the storm. That storm has passed, but the seas are still really high. So right after this talk in the admin in the ship in the admin building, the other fishermen all go outside to their boats and start preparing. And sometime in the next 3 to 6 hours, whatever narrative is appropriate, the seas will die down enough to allow the boats to leave the harbor and go out and try to find this squishy. All these fishermen are very excited, of course, at the opportunity to get this share. To get the share would be like you're already going to be rich, but you'd be ultra rich if you got another share, right? So this is quite a boon that they're all very interested in. So let me ask each of you just kind of what roughly you think your character would do after this talk, and then we will sort out some scenes and have to get things going. Let me start with you, Buddy. Buddy, what do you think Buddy would do after this?
Clearly find a way to get a share. And I think probably his opening gambit is going to be he's probably the only person who can get the Nautilus running again. And that's a ship, that's a fishing boat out there that's just sitting there.
Yeah.
Why would you not do that?
Okay. So you're interested in going out to the seawall where the Nautilus is grounded onto the rocks and trying to jury rig it back into shape. Does that sound like what you're doing? Okay, we'll come back to that. Let me ask Scott. What do you think Scott would do, Daniel?
Well, I think I will most certainly volunteer to go look for the squishy. Mm-hmm. But I have a secret agenda also, because if Weyland-Yutani is coming, I'm not sure if they're going to allow me to continue with my side job of collecting algae for my little enterprise. So this would be a good opportunity for me to go out to sea to collect a little bit more of the samples, because there is probably some kind of a coral reef where I can collect what I need. Sorry.
So you want to find a ship to go on to kill two birds with one stone?
Yes, I don't have a ship, so
right.
I will try to find someone to
talk to one of these fishing boat captains, try to Okay, we'll pick up with that. And what about Curtis? What do you think Curtis would do?
Curtis is going to push his way to the front of the thing and corner the mare before he can leave. An open bounty on this thing, is that what you're suggesting, really? We've already lost one person. Something this size. If Jed was no rookie, people are going to die. People are going to get hurt looking for another share, mare.
So he's going to put his arm around you. He's like, just keep it down. It's okay. We'll just take care of the squishy like we took care of all the rest. It's no big deal. We'll just keep it on the down low.
When we did when we killed the rest, we did it as part of a coordinated plan. We didn't put bounties on their heads. We didn't leave it open for anything. We did it together. Now you're saying sending everybody off on their own.
These guys are professionals. I mean, look at them. And you look out. Maybe you're in the ship. So there's the big windows look out over the harbor, and you see all the fishermen going out to the boats, and they're all pulling out like cases of beer. Some of them got like a really treacherous looking like dynamite stick that they're carrying out to their boat. Yeah, they're professionals. They'll take care of it.
Oh yeah, real professional. Buddy, he points him over there. Yeah, he'll be stripping the copper off any ship that he's on. And Scott over there, we all know what he's doing on that boat. He's a real professional. Half of them are on Scott's stuff, and the rest of them would just be desperate to be cashed in on it.
Look, it'll be fine. I get something more important. I need your help with. So we gotta sign the paperwork. We gotta confirm the boating accident. So I need you to come examine the body with me and Dr. Lazarus, and just sign the form, and that way Weyland-Yutani will be it'll be cool, right?
Boating accident.
Yeah. So I've got Jed's body in cold storage. Let's go check it out.
Yes, sir. Let's go check it out. Let's see what this accident looks like.
Okay. Let's pause there. We'll come back to you. Let's pick up with Scott walking out onto the quay. And like I said, there's about probably about half a dozen fishing boats that the crews are in the process of getting ready. Like I said, it's a little chaotic, it's a little crazy. Everyone's really excited, cracking some beers. There is one captain that you have a history with. Tell me what your history is with Captain Quint. Let me get a picture for him. You can probably guess.
Yeah, I can see him. Yeah.
Yeah, there he is. Captain Quint. So he's on his boat all on his own. He is drinking. He is getting some nets maybe that he's pulling on, and he's got like a machete that he like clangs onto the wood of the railing of his boat. You've got a history with him. What do you think it might be?
I think we did our collection of the algae together. We started together, and then he probably I wouldn't say we split because he wanted a bigger share, and it is me who is doing the processing of the algae, so that to make him to something to sell.
Right.
And so we kind of drifted apart. I fired him.
Okay. You fired him or you hired him? I missed that part.
No, I fired him. I
fired
said,
him.
no,
Okay.
I won't go with you again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did he know that the algae was for your drugs?
I think he
Or
did.
was
Yeah.
it just he did? Okay.
Yeah. Maybe he didn't really understand how it works, but yeah, he knew that it's some kind of an illegal business.
So he says he sees you walking by. He says, "Scott Cray," and he throws you a beer, and he says, "What the hell are you gonna do?"
And I catch the beer and I say, well, I'm going with you.
Oh, really?
Right? Yeah.
He reaches over and he grabs your hand and he looks at it and he says, "You don't even have any calluses. This is a working boat."
Yeah, but I can help. I'm a good diver. I can help. Yeah. This is what I'm here for. You need everyone.
We don't need a
right
diver. I'm gonna draw that thing to the surface and I'm gonna kill it. And he points to the harpoon gun on the end of his boat.
Okay, tell me, Quint, what do you want? I need to get on this boat. Just tell me.
Why the hell should I take you? You fired me. Last I heard, you went your own way. Now you come sniffing back.
Yeah, okay. I'll tell you where we're going to catch this beast. There is more of what I want of the stuff that I collected when we worked together. You remember?
Yeah.
So if you take me, I'll take you back in on the business. What do you say?
Let's see what he says. Let's roll some dice. So we have a move under safety and peril moves. So in this game, we divide the moves up into safety moves, which are things you do when it's relatively safe, and then peril moves that are heat of the moment kind of thing. So this is a safety move called, I think it would be manipulate. Trigger this move when you use charm, authority, negotiation, or logic to try to get someone to do something they don't want to do. So we will form a dice pool now. So we go through those questions. First of all, does Scott have an expertise that would help him convince Quint to take him on his boat?
No, not really. I have calm as a has an expertise, but I don't know if that's
Surfer, chemistry, and calm. And remember, you can twist the narrative. You could try to always try to find a way and angle to make even a halfway decent argument. I will probably say yes, but off the top of my head, I'm not sure if I see one there.
okay. Yeah.
Okay. Does he have the perfect tool for the job? Is there any piece of equipment that Scott has that would help him convince Quint to take him on his boat?
Well, I have a diving mask, and so I don't know. Maybe he's saying that he didn't need a diver, but probably someone.
You know what?
If
I see you chose the diving mask and rebreather, so you're gonna have to use a free item. You should have to reduce your free items down to 1.
Okay.
Declare it.
Okay. Yeah. Sure.
But I will say now that you've added that you're going after the algae, maybe the algae's underwater, and it's very lucrative. So I will give that to you. Since you spent that free item, we'll give you that die.
Yeah.
So you're up to 1.
And he knows that he knows how I use it, so he's seen me use it.
Right. So he sees you carrying your diving mask and your rebreather, and he knows that you're going to be diving down for this very lucrative algae. So he will give you a die. Is there anything we've established that gives you significant advantage?
I don't know. He knows that he's lucrative. I can offer him a bigger percentage. Like 50-50, if that's what if that's what you wanted, Quint. You can get it now.
60-40, my way.
Okay. Shake hands.
All right. And then finally, do you want to take a stress to get a 3rd die?
Sure, I'll take a stress point.
All right, mark a stress. Go to the dice roller, select 3 6-sided die. You guys all familiar with this dice roller, how it works?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll just write 3d6, if that's okay. It's quicker.
And you got a 5, a 2, and a 1. So the 5 is your top die. So that is a success with a complication. Let's go back and look at the move. Safety move. Manipulate. On a 4+, they must go along with what you're asking or choose to gain stress. On a 4-5, you must promise to do something for them in return. You may not manipulate them again until they get what they want. So I think Quint will say to you, okay, fine. We'll make a stop to get your stuff. And again, he kind of like looks back and forth, make sure nobody's listening. He said, yeah, to get your stuff. And then we're going to get that squishy. That thing's going to die. I'm going to get it. But look, we're going to need if we're doing all of this, we're going to need another mate. I need you to track down somebody else, somebody useful to go with us. I'll keep getting the boat ready. You find someone else that will be, useful in our hunt. Okay?
Okay, no problem.
Let's cut there. And I think we see Buddy come out of the admin building. So you looking across the harbor, let me go back to Roll20 to the map, sort of the inset of the village. You can see on the left side of the village little map, there's the seawall. So it's probably a couple hundred yards off the shore. There's a long line of like large rocks that have all been piled, together to create the seawall. On your left, looking out at the sea, there's the grounded ship that you see. You can kind of see these high waves on the ocean side of the seawall that are crashing. So you see there's the boat that's ground itself onto the shore there on your left. On the right, there's a harbor light. It's about 15-20 meters high. There's a light that's twirling, in the mid-morning, gloom. Probably not much gloom. It's probably a nice day. It's probably the sun's coming out. But anyways, that's what you see out there. And you see off to the side, you see Scott Cray and Quint talking on the Orca, Quint's boat. And then there's, like I said, there's about a few more boats that are getting ready. There is like a rowboat that's bobbing along the quay, that is sort of used by people, to do various things around the harbor. So if you want to go over there, you probably could use that if you wanted without too much trouble.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So you go down and you go to start it, and the outboard motor isn't starting, and you see walking by is this man, this guy Tucker. He's sort of like the maintenance tech. He's the one that's officially fixes everything around, but he's been absent a lot of the time lately. Apparently, he's been out working. Let me show you the map again. He's been out working at what they call the work site, which is way out here on the wet side of the island, where originally they were going to build like a large landing zone for larger transport ships. But since Weyland-Yutani has come forward with this offer, apparently he's clearing ground for their headquarters that they're going to build out there. So he's commonly been gone. He goes walking by, and he says, the motor's not working. It's been broken for a couple days.
Nothing is ever truly broken, Tucker. You see, that's why people come to me, because they come to you and you say it's broken, and you need a spare part. Whereas people come to me and I make it work.
So I'll do whatever you want. I got to get to work, and he just keeps walking. He leaves. Jumps in one of these golf carts. It's sort of like imagine like a mix between like a golf cart and a Jeep, maybe like a four-wheeler kind of thing, and he speeds off down the road.
And I'm curious why he's not interested in getting on one of the ships, I suppose, one of the boats, because who wouldn't want an extra share?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I want to try and get this thing going, so I'm looking at fix something.
Sure,
I think.
All right, so you start to monkey around with this. When you have appropriate tools, access to sufficient facilities, share a story as you make your repairs. So this is the first time we talk about sharing a story. So it could be you can be talking to somebody. We can have an NPC or maybe Scott Cray or somebody come by and you can talk to them, or it could be a flashback. It can be an internal monologue. You can frame it however you want. But tell us something share a story that tells us something more about your character. I forgot their name already. Buddy.
Yeah, I think I talk to the machine. I talk to the outboard. Now look, you and I need to get over there. You and I know that you can do it, and you and I can make this work. Mm-hmm. I just have this feeling that we're going to get along. So let's just relax and let's try that again.
Okay, perfect. We now know he likes to talk to inanimate objects. Let's fix it. So we create a dice pool. Does Buddy have an expertise that would help here?
Jury rig.
Perfect. Does he have the perfect tool for the job?
Almost certainly not, because you don't when you jury rig.
Nope. Does anything we've said give significant advantage?
I wouldn't have said so.
No, I can't think about anything. Do you want to take a stress?
Yeah, because I want that share.
Sure.
So I'll roll 2d6.
2d6. Ooh,
and one of them is a 6.
Perfect. So on a 4+ you fix it. On a 6+ you get to choose one. It takes half as long as you expected. It's better than they ever were. You can carry forward a significant advantage, or doing good feels good. Remove a stress.
I don't think doing good feels good is narratively appropriate. I think it takes half as long as I expected, and that means that I'm unlikely to be running too far behind if I can get the Nautilus running.
Okay. Sounds good. So we see you start up this motor. It spits out some smoke for a moment, and then it starts to run clean. You have, I don't know, cleared
Lean
up
down
buckets
close
in the
to it and
fuel line
say,
or something.
Thank you.
Right. I am curious if Scott Cray happens to be walking by who wants to get involved in whatever Buddy's got going here.
Yeah, I was thinking if I saw him walking by, I think I would.
Yeah,
I would
you saw him
approach
getting this motor going on this boat, this
Yeah.
rowboat.
Hey, Scotty.
Hey, buddy. How you doing?
You want in?
I was just about to ask you the same question. I'm going with Quint over there. So if you join us and not go in this small thing.
Now keep in mind, it's going to be a few hours before Quint's ready. Before the ocean's ready, really. So.
Yeah. No. Yeah. You misunderstand. This is just to get me there. And once I'm there, I'll have the Nautilus.
Oh, right. What do you want to do with the Nautilus?
I'm going to go after the squishy.
With the Nautilus, but it's broken, right?
It's not broken. It's not working at the moment, but that won't be a problem.
Yeah, I'm just saying, if you come with us, we can get started sooner, and then you won't be, missing out on the fun of killing a squishy. And you'll have someone to talk to.
I suppose you have a point.
Does either one of you want to manipulate the other here, or is it just a friendly conversation?
Before we get to that, though, I am just curious, is this a share each or a share shared?
I would be the share for the boat, so then you would divide it amongst whoever your crew is.
Yeah.
I think I need to be manipulated away from this idea of getting a whole share versus what is now becoming a third of a share.
Okay, yeah, but...
Let me put it this way. If you want to convince him, Scott, maybe it seems like he, especially since he got it done so quickly, he's on his way. You'd probably have to jump in the boat with him and keep talking to him to if you want the person to help.
Yeah, sure, I'll do that.
Okay. Yeah. So let's leave it there with you jumping into Buddy's boat with him and you guys starting to putter your way across the relatively calm harbor towards the seawall. Well, let's check in with Curtis Moss. So Curtis, we left you going with the mayor in a short walk down a corridor to what they call cold storage and also uses a morgue. It's across from, imagine, this is, by the way, the ship is a Bison class like the Nostromo. So as we're visualizing the admin structure, visualize the sets from Alien, and it's pretty close to it. It looks pretty close to that. So it's across from the med bay, and as you walk to this cold storage to check on this body of old Ned, the doctor, Dr. Lazarus, who looks like this, comes walking out of the med bay, and she says, "Sheriff, Mayor, my two favorite people, what do we got going today?" The mayor says, "Right, we need to check the body."
Ned and his boating accident, I think, Doc. And he does on a boating accident.
The mayor hands you a clipboard with a form, like a generic form that he's filled in with the name of the victim and the cause of the injuries and all that. And he says, "Yeah, all I need to do is for you to sign here and for you to sign here, doctor, and we'll file this and easy peasy, clean and done, right?"
I didn't realize you were qualified as the coroner, Mayor Vaughn. You're a man of many talents, clearly.
I think the doctor gives you a wink and says, "Yeah, well said, I forgot your character's
Moss.
name too. Moss. Well said, Moss. Yeah, let's check this body out. She
I want to
walks across.
And I put the clipboard back in the mayor's hands, and I say, maybe I'll sign your papers, but we're going to have a look at Ned first. It's the least he deserves. And I'm going to say, this is what if this Wayland Yutani's purchase is under threat, is in jeopardy because of this. That's because you weren't honest about how we haven't surveyed the rest of the planet for the squishies. We only killed a bunch around here, and you know that. But it's your mistake here, nothing else. Yeah. Now let's see if we can tidy it up for you. And I slap it. I'd like to reveal my background, my agenda as a contrarian. When you call a character out for their mistakes.
Perfect. Contrarian. So now you have that you can use for an expertise and also persistent.
Mm-hmm.
Reveal this aspect when you call out someone else for their mistakes. You don't gain stress when you hinder another PC. So usually if you're trying to get a PC to fail at something, you have to spend a stress to do so, but you don't have to. When the other PCs agree to a plan of action, you may introduce your own wildly different plan. When you and those agree to follow your plan set out, roll a single die. On a 6, hold 3, 4 to 5, hold 1. Use hold to 1 for 1. Cancel any threat that your group encounters. It just doesn't happen. Find something else useful of your choice as long as you can fill it into the narrative. Gain significant advantage on the roll. On a 1 to 3, the GM will have your group come face to face with the most dangerous threat in the scenario. You win if the table agrees that your plan of action proved to be better.
I mean, I think that's a pretty good move because it sounds as though if people do go with my plan, then it's assuming that I roll above a 3, I can cancel any threat that the group encounters, which I don't think you get the benefit of when you just do everybody else's plan. So, yeah.
But if you roll badly...
Well, yes, yeah, but that's true of all of them. Yeah.
Okay. So this is I would suggest we wait until story starts to develop and people start to come up with a plan. And come
I'm not
forward and be like, we should do we could zig instead of zag, and then we'll go from there. But that's how that would work. Okay, great.
Yeah. But I'll let the doctor walk me through Ned's.
Okay. So the three of you go into the cold storage / morgue. And maybe there's like a side of sheep meat laying on a hook, and it's it's misty with cold air, and she wheels out this gurney, and there's a body with a sheet on it, and she pulls back the sheet, and you see old Ned, maybe a man in his 50s or so, fisherman. Got a beard and gray hair, and he's naked, of course, and he's dead, and there's a big hole in his chest, and it looks like something has burst out of him, or like a grenade exploded in the middle of his chest. Okay, and the doctor lets out an exclamation, and she's like, what the hell do you think you're doing, Mayor? This isn't a squishy attack. This isn't a boating accident. I don't know what this is.
Kurt Moss leans in close over the body and says, looks like a grenade went off in his chest. I haven't seen anything as bad as that since the revolt on Phobos, when they had the suicide bombers. They'd ingest micro explosives and brush our lines. But that wouldn't have left. Well, that used to take out the whole top of their body, never mind just the torso. I'd like to reveal my other card. I'm a combat veteran.
All right.
I'm a Colonial Marine, I think, is the
Colonial Marine.
Yeah. But for the Three Worlds Empire, I think.
Okay. Is Curtis Moss a Brit?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the Three World Empire, in case you guys aren't familiar, is British and Japanese company, and also
it's basically
nation state.
Yeah, it's basically the nation state that the corporations used to colonize most of space before the Americas got on the scene and started to essentially usurp the Three World Empire. But yeah,
The Three World Empire,
Three-
even more than the rest of the universe, is heavily manipulated by Weyland Yutani.
exactly.
So, okay,
But
so
yeah.
Colonial Marine plus combat. Reveal this aspect when you tell a harrowing tale of a mission gone bad. You've stashed away a piece of gear from your life in the core. It can be one level greater in scale than the other gear found in the story. You can wait on that.
Yeah.
You can declare something. Just keep in mind that as we go along, you can declare something that is nice.
Don't get me. Of course, I was overjoyed to see this in a story that's essentially about hunting something, right? But yeah, yeah. Anyway, I'll let the doctor carry on now. I just wanted to get my background and agenda declared on the table. You know.
Well, you're ready to go. Do you, in looking down, want to roll some dice and see if you can investigate?
Yeah, I'll take a look
The
myself.
body. So I think the doctor is like, this is, like she said, this is no squishy. Usually, the remains of someone from a squishy attack would be in a box. What the squishies do, they grab you, they rip you apart, they take out huge chunks of your body. Usually, there's just pieces of body left. And she's saying, this isn't a squishy attack. And you're looking around. Just tell me. Well, let's look at the move, and this will answer my question.
Yeah.
Safety and peril moves. Investigate. When you have appropriate fictional positioning, you may search for information on a person or a thing before rolling. Share a story. So, do we see Moss muttering something, having a conversation, a flashback? What tells us more about Moss?
I mean, I think I already did tell a story. As I leaned in close.
Yeah. I think we know a lot about you. It sounds good. Describe what you're hoping to find or discover.
Any sort of clue as to what happened here? Beyond torso explosion. I could metagame the sort of thing that perhaps I might notice, but I won't do that.
That's enough to work with, and we'll see how the dice work out, and then we'll go from there. Describe how you put yourself into danger like an idiot.
I mean, I think this is a fairly contained situation in terms of danger. I think the danger that I'm putting myself in here is that I am pissing off the mayor by finding his sheep.
Sure.
Can you guess who I might nominate as the enemy of my?
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. Yeah, that sounds good. We'll go with that. Play it appropriately. All right, so let's roll some dice. So, do you have an expertise that would help with your investigation?
Combat.
Yeah, or martial. I think martial.
Oh yeah, martial. Yeah. I forgot that.
Probably not combat, but martial. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
There's one. Do you have the perfect tool for the job?
I have the doctor with me in the medical area.
Seems... Yeah, we'll either. Yeah, that makes sense. How about significant advantage?
Yeah.
What do you think your significant advantage might be?
I mean, I'd say that's the same. So I'm happy to just take one.
Yeah, you can't double up. So maybe we see you like insisting to roll the body into the med bay where you can examine it, with a more professional manner.
I mean, I think the major thing is that every time Mayor Vaughn tries to, like wave away and interrupt the doctor or anything, like Moss just sort of like bodily steps in between the two of them and just sort of back away from it. So that
right, he keeps pushing the paperwork. Let's just sign off. I mean, who cares? I mean, dead is dead. This is going to be old news in a couple of days. Who cares?
It was an accident on a boat. It was an accident. I mean, wildlife can't do things intentionally, right? And it was on a boat, so it's a boating accident, of course. Yeah. So I roll 2d6 then, yeah?
Nope, we're not done yet. So do you want to take a stress?
No, I don't care.
Okay, so you got 2 dice.
2 dice. That is a 5.
There's a 5. So on a 5... on a 4+, in addition to finding what you're looking for, you find out something that moves the plot forward. I think that's it. So tell me again, you said you wanted to find? What did this, or how did he die, or something like that kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those ones where, I'm imagining the amount of information that this dead body can tell me is fairly limited. But whatever there is extra, really, in terms of he's naked, he's not in his stuff, he's not in his clothes, so there's nothing there from that. But other injuries perhaps on his, what screams out to me would perhaps be things,
Sure.
marks
Sure,
around his
sure.
face. But obviously, I don't know about it.
So maybe we see a little bit of a montage of you and the doctor working together to do some examination. And you, couple things. So there is signs of some trauma to his throat, some ripping and tearing in his throat. The doctor doesn't have a clue as whether it could have caused that. There is also inside the cavity, it looks like most of the organs have been consumed by something with very sharp little teeth. Again, doesn't follow the pattern of a squishy. And there is we see her pull out with some like tweezers or tongs or whatever, a long strip of like this pale yellowish looking skin, like a snake skin. Squishies don't shed their skin, so this is bizarre.
But I think whatever it was, we can safely say that it wasn't a squishy.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't surveyed the entire planet. You know this. There's deeper waters out there than the island. Vaughn. Whatever it is that did this to Ned, it could be worse than a squishy in terms of the contract.
Mm-hmm.
We could all be out our shares here. People could get hurt. What are you going to do about it?
Talking to the mayor.
Yeah.
So we'll just kill the thing. There can't be more than one of them. I mean, we haven't seen one for 5 years. It's no big deal. It's your job anyways. I mean, if you're so worried about it, get out there and save everybody and keep them safe. Isn't that in your contract? You're the sheriff.
You're right. You want me to sign this paper?
Yeah.
Yeah? Then you're going to put me in charge of this.
Okay. That sounds like a manipulate to me.
Yeah.
But let me pause there because I know Daniel's got to leave soon, so I want to get him somewhere decent. So let's pick up with the two of you stepping off of the rowboat that you probably take a rope and like put it around a rock to keep it from like floating away. And we see you stepping out onto the jagged rocks of the I lost track of what it is. The
breakwater.
The breakwater, thank you. And there's the Nautilus before you. It's on the ocean side, so you maybe climb up over some of these rocks, and there it is before you. It's not like a long, maybe 15, 20 feet, 4 or 5 meters across the breakwater. It's 3 or 4 or 5 meters high. So you clamber over, and there's the boat, up on some of these rocks. You immediately do see there's a big hole in the side of the hull. This is going to be a get it to shore up onto a dry dock kind of situation. It's not going to be a couple 2x4 type job. The boat is there. Take it from there.
Okay, Scotty. I think I have to come clean with you. I don't think I can fix that.
Yeah, it looks like that. Yeah, I know you're good at fixing things, but this is a big hole.
But there might be some stuff on board that would be really helpful. And it seems a shame to just leave it out here. Because let's face it, no one's coming back for it.
Well, we can check, the boat. But have you thought about, joining Quint and me?
Oh, yeah, that's a given now.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you need an engineer. So look, I'll look at the cabin. You get in through that hole and check if there's anything useful that we might usefully take back with us. It would make me feel better to turn up with Quint with something in hand.
Okay, yeah, let's go check it. Yeah, okay. Let's both do this.
So let me start with you, Daniel. Scott, and we see you climbing through this hole. You know, you kind of have to like. It's not like humans big, like a huge human size hole, but you know you're able to climb through, push your way through. There's enough sort of light coming in from outside, so you're down in what would be like the where they would put the squid, you know, like I'm sure there's a name for it. About every couple of minutes, I'm going to show how little I know about nautical stuff, but there's, you know, a holding pen for where they would put all of the squid that they catch, right? So
Okay.
you're climbing through into that. And let's do an investigation roll real quick. Share a story again through inner monologue, something you're yelling up to Buddy, a flashback. But let's learn something about Scott Craig.
Okay. Can I talk to Buddy? Can you
Yeah, you could probably be yelling. I mean, he's
Yeah,
up
I
on the
can hear
deck
you.
above you. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You in, Scotty?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. This is I'm in the you know the place where they put all the squid and
Mm-hmm.
Well,
the
have a
squishes
look
also.
round. See if there's anything
Yeah.
useful down there.
Okay. Do you know why the squishes are so dangerous also? Because they're
Well,
poisonous. They have poison.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So if you find a part of the squishy somewhere or something like that, don't touch it. Okay.
Okay. No, thanks for
Because
that,
it's
Scotty.
very, very painful.
Okay.
And yeah, I was. Yeah. Do you know that I was one of the first to see a squishy?
I did not know that, Scotty.
And as I'm looking around, I'm telling this story, and I want to reveal if I can, my background.
Sure.
Which is a physician.
Oh.
I think you did that on Buddy. You want to do it on Scott?
Sorry. Yeah. Sorry. I keep mixing this. Sure. Okay. So I want to tell Buddy about the first time when I was working for the Organic Explorations Corporation when we were first surveying this planet, and I was a young intern doctor.
A doctor?
Yeah, I was just an intern then. Yeah, but I changed my mind, and I picked up my old passion for surfing and other scientific stuff. So yeah, and the first squish attack was in my boss, who was a real doctor then. They were attacked by a squishy. Yeah, and I had to save them, and I couldn't because they were poisonous. They were poisoned.
Well, I have to say, I'm even keener to join you on Quint's boat now. I didn't know that you could do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think we are, you're a match made in heaven. You with your engineering stuff, and Quint with his big harpoon. And if something goes wrong, I'm there. And
nothing will, obviously, but yeah, good.
Yeah, just in case. And by revealing my background,
go ahead.
Yeah, I have to sharing the story of how I lost my medical license,
right?
Which is the same story that I told Buddy, but I was the one who was supposed to save my tutor doctor who was attacked, but I was high on drugs, so I couldn't.
I see.
And that's why I lost my license.
Okay, perfect. I like it. Going back to the move then. Describe what you're hoping to find or discover. So you're looking around in this dark hold. What are you hoping to find or discover?
I'm hoping to find maybe some tools for luring the squishes, like maybe some kind of a how do you say, radio emitter or sonar emitter that can, maybe some equipment from the
Okay.
boat.
Okay. Describe how you put yourself into danger like an idiot.
Maybe there is a part of the ship that it's underwater, so that I can dive inside, but it's very narrow to go. But I don't really care. I just pop a pill to calm me before I do it, and then.
So yeah, I think what we'll say, like the boat's kind of like this. You're climbing in sort of it's sort of like driven up onto the shore. You've climbed in there. There's nothing really in the hold, but you see that there's like a hatch that goes down into the mechanical area at the back of the boat, but it kind of that's still in the water. So you go back that way, and the mechanical section, it's really low. It's like a crawl space, really. You're crawling back in there, and that space is underwater. So you think you see a glint of something down there that could be useful, but you're going to have to dive down in there and try to grab it. So that sounds perfect. So let's roll some dice.
Okay.
Is there an expertise that Scott has that would help him with this?
Expertise? No, I don't think so.
I think surfer, you're a good swimmer, right?
Yeah.
Is that worth a die?
If you say so, yeah.
Yeah. I mean that's the level of that's the level of narrative you need. There's just a little,
okay.
Even just a little bit of reasoning is all you really need. So there's one.
Okay.
Does he have the right tool for the job?
Yeah, I have a diving mask.
Yeah, there you go. You got a diving mask and rebreather. Perfect. That's 2. Do you have any significant advantage?
I don't think so.
No. I'm looking at your position card, but I don't see anything there either.
Biology.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so for this.
You can, if you do medical aid later, you can gain significant advantage if you express guilt or remorse and increase your stress, but not here. So no. And do you want to take a stress?
Well, no, not right now.
Okay. So you are rolling 2 dice.
2 dice. Okay.
5.
5. Okay.
On a 4+, in addition to finding what you're looking for, you find out something that moves the plot forward. So I think you dive down in there, and hold on, let me read something here. You dive down in there, and you grab the glinting piece of equipment. I will let you go ahead and add to your character sheet, any sort of handheld piece of equipment that you think would be useful going forward. I don't know if such a thing as a portable sonar exists.
Yeah, maybe something like that.
Yeah. I'll let you define it how you want, but
okay. Portable sonar rod.
Sure. You dip it in the water and it comes up with a reading on a little, perfect. So you grab that, so go ahead and add that to your character. You also see that it sticks. You're pulling it and grab it, and it's stuck in some sort of like stuff, some sort of like sticky black resinous stuff.
Okay. This is strange.
I'll
try to pull it out.
Yeah, you pull it out. Some of this black resinous stuff sort of like floats around in the water around you.
Yeah. I pull it out, and if I can go back, when I get out of the water, I will examine it and maybe put it in some sort of a plastic bag a little bit. I don't clean it all off. I want to examine it maybe later.
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
save for later what it is.
Okay, perfect. All right, great. And it's
Yeah,
11
and I have
o'clock.
to. Yeah. It's
Perfect.
5
I will
o'clock.
see you next
So,
week, Daniel.
see you guys. Bye.
Bye. Buddy, so you're up on the deck, and imagine a fishing boat deck. Everything's where it should be, but there are quite a few signs that quite a bit of damage that has happened up here. You see a lot, like the railing, sections of the railing have been busted. Some of the planks of the deck look like they've been broken. You see there's pieces of equipment strewn about that looks broken. Describe a little bit of what you're looking at and what you're doing.
That's all very interesting. But what I'm looking for is anything. I'm looking for the ship's log. I want to know exactly where they went, and what they observed or found.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's do an investigate. First of all, share a story, whether it's you're yelling down to Scott or a monologue or however you want to phrase it. What do we learn about Buddy?
Well, I think I will take this opportunity to reveal my agenda, just so we have that out in the open.
No one's wasting any time on the cards.
That is exclusive rights. Reveal this aspect when you publicly acknowledge or choose to have a PC discover that you did something prior to the scenario's start that led to a horrible thing happening. As soon as the story allows, show or tell the others what motivation you had in doing what you did. And I think probably while Scott thinks that I'm looking for equipment, he instead interrupts me going through the ship's log. And says something like, what you're supposed to be looking for equipment that we might find useful. What's going on? And I say, well, Scott, okay, just between you and me, I got into some trouble some years ago, and somebody offered me a way out, fresh start, fine. All I had to do is to do something for them. But then that person contacted me again a few months ago, and there was something in the original survey that no one's really picked up on. And this person wanted to find out some more about that thing. And so I did a deal with the crew of the Nautilus to go and have a look. And they had a look, and I communicated that back, and shortly after that, Weyland-Yutani made us that really good offer. But I was kind of curious. And so what I asked Ned to do was, the next time he was out that way fishing, just have a closer look in that bit of the ocean bed, maybe.
That's perfect. Okay. Yeah,
and look, Scotty, look, this is between you and me. Quint's not part of this, okay? I appreciate you coming to me about Quint, but this logbook here, this logbook could be worth a lot.
Okay. Roll a significant advantage when taking actions that will potentially help you satisfy your motivation and clearly put others in danger. You win if you get what you're after. So you're after whatever that thing is.
I want to know what Ned and his
Ned
crew.
and the Nautilus out to check on. Okay.
Yeah, I want to know what they found.
Do you have? Let me go back to do this right. So you told a story. Describe what you're hoping to find or discover. I think you pretty much have done that.
Yeah.
Describe how you put yourself into danger like an idiot.
Oh, I've been making so much noise. The reason
Mm.
that Scott comes up to
Throwing
see,
stuff around.
because he's discovered this thing down there and he hears all this banging and clattering upstairs. And so he
Mhm.
comes up and I'm just throwing stuff out of cupboards and, got it, is the theory.
Okay.
So I
Let's
think I'm
roll
just
some dice.
making a lot of noise.
Yep. All right. Does Buddy have an expertise that would help with this?
I think thief would
Yes,
be appropriate
yes,
here.
I agree. One, does he have the perfect tool for the job?
The knowledge
I think
it's
there's a
all.
lock. I think there's a locker that's locked. That maybe those
Oh,
lock
right.
picks.
So the lockpicks. Yeah, fair enough. Okay.
Okay.
And I think perhaps the advantage I have is that I know something's here. I know there's something
Something that will
here.
help you satisfy your motivation. Yep, your exclusive rights. I think you can activate that significant advantage power that comes with that card. So there's 3 dice. Do you want to take a
Okay.
stress?
No, I won't at this point.
Okay, 3 dice. A 5.
That's a 5.
You succeed. Find something that moves the plot forward. So I think you're jimmying the lock with your lock picks. It clicks open. You see there's a tablet in there. You activate it. It doesn't have a password. Old Ned didn't believe in passwords. That newfangled tech. He likes to keep it simple. You see a simple written log of set sail at so and so time, so and so temperature, so and so winds. Sailed or steamed. 2 hours. South southeast, or I'm just making it up. South southwest. I guess it'd probably be better the way our map is. In the direction towards where Buddy told us to go, and it says something about at 6 a.m. Fog cleared and saw something in the mist. It says at so and so spot. It's somewhat vague as to where. It's not exact. It's not GPS, but it's so and so spot. Near we'll say the Broken Shoals. Maybe it's a spot out in the water. A captain would know about. And then there's also a separate automated recording of like the ship has a simple AI, like an autopilot, and it's clear that about an hour or so after that written log, the ship's autopilot was activated, and clearly that's how it has returned to the harbor. The autopilot drove it back, and obviously in the storm, it failed to navigate the stormy seas and grounded onto the rocks. I think that pretty much covers it. Let's take a 5-minute break and we will check back in with Curtis Moss.
Must remember to tell Daniel about the bargain that you made with his character.
I mean, it's obviously to both our advantages.
Yeah, I could add a little note to say, like, because that could be a role, right? To manipulate Scott to see whether it'll
Exactly.
go. Yeah,
exactly. We were just saying, Jason, that we may want to remember. I think Will's putting in the notes, but we need to give Daniel the chance not to go with my deal.
That's true. I bet it was pretty mild. I bet he'll probably go for it.
yeah.
But
there's a mechanic, right, for
We'll
manipulating.
bounce it off.
There is.
Yeah. I think, like you did with him trying to convince you to go on the Orca Quint's boat. Once you just is like, oh, well, obviously that's what I'm going to do now. Then you don't need to roll. You don't need to manipulate it if people agree. But yeah, I'll make a note of that too, and we'll go back and check in with Daniel. Okay, so we fade out on the investigation of the derelict and return to the admin structure, the ship, and I believe we had left off. Will remind me if I'm forgetting something, but I think you were needing to manipulate the mayor to convince you to run the operation, I guess. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's
your peril move, or
I think manipulate could be a safety or peril. I think in this situation it's still safety.
Yeah.
He's not going to pull a gun on you.
no,
It's
going to end very quickly if he does. Yeah.
Yeah. Trigger this move and use charm. Blah 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 blah. So let's go to the dice. So does Moss have anything that would help him manipulate the mayor?
I have my persistent quality, my disarming, my brave,
Yep.
my martial.
Sure,
These are all reasons I think to
Yep.
do it.
Do you have the right tool for the job? Any piece of equipment
I would
that help?
say that this body constitutes the right tool for the job, having established beyond any doubt that no matter what he says, he knows that it's not a squishy.
We'll call that significant advantage, but
Okay.
I would say, yeah. I think the situation, what we've established of you calling him out, and the doctor making it clear, siding with you that this is not a boating accident or a squishy accident. We'll call that one or the other. So there's 2 dice. Do you want to take a stress?
Yeah, I do want to take a stress.
Let's check your cards real quick, just as a learning opportunity. See if any of them fit here. Any of these powers that come with your cards. Stash.
No, because he's contrarian is a other
you
piece.
could punch him in the face, maybe, but no. Contrarian has got its fancy thing, but that doesn't apply here.
Yeah.
So you are at 2, or did you take a stress? I forgot.
I'll take a stress.
Okay, so 3.
That's a 5.
5, and I manipulate. I think that's they agree, but they ask for something in return. So I think he says, okay, fine. You 2 sign here, take care of the paperwork, and then you can run this yourself. I will step back, play it cool. As long as you don't fuck up again, you can do what you want. All right? You sign here, you do what I want, you can do what you want.
Very civic-minded of you, Mayor Vaughn.
Look, I just want to seal this deal, get the hell off this rock or this ocean.
Yeah. Well, Doc, you up for it?
She says, fine.
Yeah.
Clearly, Vaughn will probably leave then. You sign the form, he will storm off.
Yeah.
And she says, look, I don't know if he knows something, but, this is no squishy accident. We've got to figure something's out there, something dangerous. We've got to figure this out.
That's all I know as well, Doc. But at least now I won't have the mayor stomping all over my attempts to get it sorted before anyone else gets hurt. I'm going to have to go out on that bloody water, aren't I? Listen.
Yeah.
Anything more you can tell me? You know, anything at all. I've got my radio.
Okay.
Just get in touch. Yeah, Doc?
Yeah.
All right.
I'll keep checking it out. Yeah.
And I'll head off. I think I'd like to take that as like, you know, obviously I'm not coordinating everyone, but more like the mayor's not going to countermand me if I say like, you know, I got to go on the boat or whatever, right? Like I have jurisdiction kind of thing, you know?
Right.
None of this libertarian frontier crap that's going to
Sure.
go.
I think on your way out then, so you come out and you move through what they, you know, their office space, which probably would have been like the galley on the Nostromo. Picture that. It's been kind of renovated to have some desks and stuff in there. You see, there's the Comtech guy. His name's Renton. He's working away, tapping away at a computer. But this is Renton, and then the executive assistant, the office manager, Marge, comes up to you and she's all flustered. She's got all these little strips of paper and she says, Sheriff, I've been getting calls all the last couple hours. Everybody needs help. I've got this one. O'Hara says that the morning workers, Muhammad and Fisher, didn't show up to the cannery. He thinks they're sleeping off they probably drank whiskey all night. He wants you to find them, wake them up and get them to work. Jones's Tavern called, said their dog is missing, and that Mrs. Winthrop just called. She said that somebody broke her fence out at her farm and her sheep are missing. You're muted if you're talking.
Right. So sheep missing on the farm. Cannery fishery workers didn't show up to the cannery.
Yeah.
What was the other one?
Jones's Tavern says their dog is missing. Ran away during the night. It says there's it was like scrapping at the door all night and whimpering, and finally they let him out and he just took off.
Right. Well, we got people, pet, livestock, right? And I got another couple. I've only got. How long is it? You know how long it's going to be until the crews starts setting off this stupid hunt that the mayor's got them on?
It says a couple more. The mayor said something about a couple hours. If you look out the window, there's probably not a window in the galley, but you know, you saw earlier. You know from experience that it's you know once the storms pass, 3, 4, 5 hours later, usually the waters are calm enough to sail.
Right. Do I have a deputy of any kind?
No, but I was going to ask you. Buddy owes the company some community service, so you could deputize him maybe.
Right. Who's still got some outstanding community service hours on the roster? Has Buddy worked his shift off yet?
No, he still owes 127 hours.
Right. Great. I'm gonna go check out the cannery. I'm gonna get Buddy I'm going to deputize Buddy for the afternoon. Yeah,
okay.
We can get some of this stuff wrapped up before the storm.
I want to give him a gun, though. I'm just saying. I mean, you're the sheriff and all, but
I pat it. Trust me. Only one person's walking around strapped around here. Rest of them, dynamite and harpoon guns. You've seen the accident.
She says, "Oh God damn it, the phone's ringing again. I gotta go." Okay, yeah. Here. She hands all you the work slips.
Yeah. Listen. I might be out on a boat later on. I've convinced the mayor to make sure that to let me oversee this entire snipe hunt. So you can reach me on the radio. I'll radio in when I know what boat I'll be on. Yeah.
Okay. I won't even bother with the mayor. I'll just call you directly. Okay.
Yeah. Don't involve.
You got your walkie-talkie?
Jesus, don't involve the mayor. Yeah, I got it. Pat the walkie-talkie, pat the gun, and then head off to go find Buddy.
Go ahead and add walkie-talkie to your character. Let's take a quick moment. There's a handout in Roll20 called Sheriff's Gun Locker. You can access that whenever you want. It's your call. You got a little key for it, but there's some gear in there. You can check that out if you want to distribute that to yourself or others.
Interesting. I will take a Kevlar vest and a flashlight. Although, could I
Okay.
just leave those undeclared and just say them when I need them from the locker? Or do I have to take them?
You would have to write them down unless you wanted to use one of your free item,
Okay.
resources to do so. But you can take them for free now, or you can declare it using a free item point later.
I will leave those 2 boxes undeclared because those are my free items, right? And I will load myself up with my stuff.
Okay.
Basically from the locker.
Sounds good.
And I will bring a walkie-talkie for Buddy as well. Yeah.
Okay.
And I will probably come in just as Buddy and Scotty are heading back from the
they come puttering in on the rowboat. The engine that's been jury rigged is starting to kick and sputter, but it delivers them to the key. Scott's going to step off and leave scene and leave the two of you there.
But just before he does that, Buddy leans to Scott and says, "Oh shit, it's a sheriff. Have you done anything?"
I imagine Scott's like, "Have you done anything?"
Yeah. Now, do remember that with all these cards been flipped, everybody knows this about each other.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but yeah, I'll leave you guys there to have a scene together.
Yeah.
Oh, hi, Curtis. How can I help you today?
Sheriff Moss to you, buddy. You know that.
Oh, come on. We know each other well enough.
Too well.
We're going to be rich soon. We'll go our separate ways. We'll live lives of luxury.
And I can
I'll be Buddy. You'll be Curtis. It'll be great.
I'm still planning on being the sheriff of whatever's left behind if Weyland-Yutani will keep me on. I quite like the ocean breeze.
Look,
Anyway, I've got something I need. Listen, buddy. As much as we might long
Curtis,
for a future,
Curtis,
yeah?
Curtis, just take it from me. You don't want to work for Weyland-Yutani. Okay?
I don't want to work for Weyland-Yutani. You're right. Anyway, speaking of working for people that you don't want to work for, and I pull out the the slip of like his community hours stamped, right? I'm imagining like a triple form with like stamps for each hour that he's done, and say, somebody still owes a few hours of community service.
Oh, come on, Sheriff, not today. I mean,
I'm afraid
there's a share out there.
There's a share out. Listen, buddy. I bet you're not surprised to find out I'm not particularly happy with this bounty that the mayor's put out there. I'm worried about what happened to old Ned and the Nautilus, and I don't want that happening to anybody else. But he's put me in charge of it. And if you play nice and you show me that you can do community service, then you can show me that you're somebody that I can trust. And I can make sure that you and whatever ship you're along is going to get all the advantages that the person in charge of this snipe hunt can give you.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Because
okay.
I mean, of course, the other alternative is that I shove you in the cell again.
No, it's okay. That's okay. No,
Yeah.
I apologize, Sheriff Moss. I'm all yours.
Thanks, buddy. You can be reasonable.
What do you need me to fix?
And I need you to take a look. So look, we've had a few reports in. There's not long for it to go before the storm clears and everyone's out being an arsehole on the boats. But I'm going to go check out the canneries. Some of the workers haven't shown up, right? But I need you to head over to the what place was it, Jason? Sorry, the
Jones's Tavern.
No,
or Mrs. Winthrop's farm.
I need you to head over to Winthrop's farm.
Mm.
And look, some of the livestock's gone missing. I just need this closed off before we head out. And you're a man who can fix a sheep-proof fence if there ever was one.
Okay. Can I take your runabout?
You're going to need to.
It's a long walk.
The farm is quite a bit out there, yeah.
Don't go driving it anywhere else you're not supposed to. Remember last time? Yeah. No round trips around the island. I know what's on the mileometer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Straight to Winthrops, fix the fence, come back. No
Yeah.
problem.
Find out whatever's gone on there, put their minds at ease, fix the fence, get back here. Yeah. I toss you the walkie-talkie. And
Great.
yeah, and if you'd like a flashlight as well.
Yeah, and I mean, is there a badge?
You do have a shiny little deputy badge in your pocket.
Don't make me regret this.
You can trust me, Curtis. Sheriff.
Call me Curtis, since we're going to be colleagues, buddy.
Let's
Yes,
cut there. Let's we'll do the Winthrop Farm second, but let's do you. We see the sheriff entering the cannery. It's a big, tall building. Open inside, but all kinds of machinery. There's all kinds of like pipes and like big tanks. Some are hot, some are cold, some are like whirring fans to like grind up the squid into the slurry. Holding tanks. There's a cannery machine, that stamps and puts all the slurry into these cans. There's a warehouse area. It's loud. It's hot inside. It's especially unpleasant to give this. You're starting to build. You're going to get this. You're starting to get a headache, Sheriff. Whether it's the morning or you're getting some sort of illness or something, but you're starting to get a little bit of a headache, and it's pounding. All the machinery is pounding, and the Mr. O'Hara is the administrator, and he comes up to you, and he's got like a jumper, like a slick jumper, for working in here, and he's very harried, and he's like, look, oh, Sheriff, great, you're here. Did you find Mohammed and Fisher?
No, I only didn't get their names from, when you left your call, you didn't leave the names.
I'd look for them, but I'm running this place myself. And you hear a buzzer in the back. He goes, oh, shit, I got to go. But like they sometimes instead of coming to work, they just decide to go fishing out on the pier. Maybe that's where you'll find them. I don't know.
You checked in with their in the barracks, the quarters?
No, they've got one of the shacks up along the quay there, but I haven't. Like I said, I've been running this place on my own.
I'll leave you to it, and I'll let you know if I find them. And if I find them, I'll kick their asses and send them back over.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thanks, Sheriff.
Yeah, and I'll wander down past their, whichever's first on the way to.
Sure.
If I go past the houses, obviously I'll knock on them to see any answer.
Right. Yeah, you walk out and the pier's right there. Usually the ships will come up and then like a crane would unload their squid into the cannery. Yeah. So there's a pier right there, and it runs out into the water. There's various boxes and barrels and whatnot on the pier.
Well, then while I'm here, I have a look around to see if there's anybody fishing at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think this whole thing, as you're wandering the pier, is worthy of an investigate roll. Let's do that. So. Share a story. You can be talking to somebody, a flashback, muttering to yourself, whatever it could, however you want to phrase it. Let's learn something about Curtis.
Yeah. He stops and stares around, and we flash back to him as part of an occupying military presence on Phobos colony. Knocking on doors. Have you seen this insurgent? Have you seen this person they're wanted for? Knock, 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 and then a yell from one of his squad mates down the row, and a big explosion as one of those chest bombs goes off, he's it cuts back to him massaging his temples from that headache, and he sniffs and looks out at the way, as the wind and the rain spatter off his like
helmet or whatever.
I'm imagining one of those big coats, like those big anorak things that they wear. I forget the name of it. He's going to head over and have a look around the pier, see if he can find somebody to talk to, because people always know what other people are doing.
Sure. Let me say, I'm not sure if you meant like the Rin and the Rain in the past, in the flashback, or in the present. It is actually a very pleasant, turning out to be a fairly pleasant, sunny, mild day here in the present.
I thought there was a storm going on.
No,
storm?
well, it's ended.
Okay.
There's still some wind, but it's nothing
Yeah,
too serious.
Fair enough. Then, yeah, he
Okay.
squints out into the sun and
Sure.
smiles as the sun rays cut over the ocean. It's much better here than on Phobos.
Describe what you're hoping to find or discover. Sounds like
hoping
your
someone
clues as to
saw-
what's that?
I'm hoping that
Where the
somebody
boys
here
are?
saw them. Yeah, somebody here saw them.
Sure.
Um,
Describe how you put yourself into danger like an idiot.
I mean, I'm wandering along the pier. It doesn't. I think that's about it, really, in terms of danger. You know.
Yeah.
I mean,
Maybe
fairly.
you're distracted, looking for clues, maybe not looking around too carefully at your surroundings. In
Yeah.
case there's anything dangerous.
Well,
Okay,
I mean,
so let's do some dice. So you are the marshal. I think this sort of investigation is up your alley. There's one.
Uh-huh.
Do you have the right tool for the job?
I've got my. Well, it's a sunny day, so I don't need my flashlight to have a look around, do I?
Not really, no.
No, I don't.
Probably no. Okay, significant advantage.
I am disarming and brave and persistent.
Well, that's for expertise. You got that.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just a matter of if we've established anything narratively that would give you advantage.
That I'm coming from the cannery on behalf of his employer. They're going to lose their job if they don't.
I'm
worries,
gonna say no.
Yeah, fair enough. I'll roll with one dice.
There's one. Do you want to take stress?
Nah,
Okay, one dice.
that's a 4.
Okay. You find what you're looking for, plus something, a plot thingy. So there's actually nobody fishing here. The fishermen are all, you can see kind of across the harbor. They're all along the quay getting their boats ready. You see that scene again. Several of them are several beers down into their preparations. Everyone's loud, pretty excited. So where you're at, it's pretty quiet. Where the sort of the industrial pier, nobody's really over here. You're looking about, and you do see sort of at the end of the pier, there's sort of a little, like some boxes and barrels that create sort of a little spot you can sit and fish out of the wind. And you can see that there's like a lunchbox and like a bottle of whiskey sitting there. So there's some fishing tackle sitting at the end of the pier, but no people. And you see that there's a trail of blood. There's like a pretty sizable blood splatter right by the fishing tackle and whatnot. And then there's like a stream of the blood. Looks like someone bloody was dragged towards the water, and it ends, at the end of the pier.
Okay. Would that be would I mark stress for that?
No. It's not a good sign, but I wouldn't say.
No, I pick up my radio, and I call into Marge. I need you to put the word out if you can find Mohammed or Fisher. Anyone, send them. Otherwise, we're gonna have to report them as missing.
Okay, Sheriff. I'll get right on it.
And Marge, stay away from the water.
Okay. Well, I'm really busy here anyway. I'll stay away from the water. Got it. What's going on, Sheriff?
I'll let you know when I know more, but something looks like something got either Mohammed or Fisher or both of them.
Mm-hmm.
It's no squishy, Marge. I'd stay away from the water, Marge. And I think as he turns towards the tavern, because that's close by as well, right? Like I can probably polish off the dog relatively quickly. But happy to cut over to Buddy as he
yeah. So
are the walkie-talkies sophisticated enough to be able to just have sent that message to Marge?
Yes. It's probably like a channel, you
Okay.
click, just a Marge channel, there's a Buddy channel.
you probably will get as you're driving out that distance, right? So there's some amount of time, right, as you drive out there. You probably Moss will radio in and go, buddy.
Yes, Sheriff. Deputy here.
Deputy Buddy. The Winthrop Farms inland. Yeah?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know where I'm going.
Here, it's right here.
Yeah. Buddy, make sure you keep an eye on anything near the water. Yeah? Be careful.
The farm's miles from the water.
Yeah. Make sure you ask them about anything near the water, though, yeah?
Okay.
And, buddy, ask them if they've seen Mohammed or Fisher, too. They've gone missing.
Okay. Aren't they just, drunk somewhere?
Let's hope.
Okay, perfect. I think that's worth a stress for Buddy, though.
I think it is as well. Yeah.
Foreboding enough to earn that. He's not a hardened ex-Marine. So yeah, go ahead and take a stress, Buddy. So your ride is very pleasant. It takes about a half hour or so on these dirt tracks to work your way through this scrubby, dry side of the island. It sort of zigs and zags, moving along. You pass a few farmhouses. They're quiet. There's, you go kind of up and down some rises. At the lower section, there's a little bit of overgrowth, some brush, and some small forest. You're just gradually making your way up higher as you go more into the central part of the island. Over your shoulder, you see the beautiful ocean behind you. It's a nice sunny day, and you're driving along, and you get to the Winthrop Farm. There's a farmhouse sort of on a rise in front of you. The road would go up to it. There's a long fence, scrap wood and piles of stone, creating this fence to keep the sheep hold. It slants, so the house is kind of higher up in this field, slants down to one of those lower sections that's all real brushy and overgrown. And there's a fence all kind of screening it all around. But you see that towards where it's brushy and overgrown at the lower part of the field, you do see that the fence has been knocked over or broken somehow. And there's one sheep in the field, fairly close to that broken section, but in the field, there's one sheep just standing there. It's not moving at all. It's not whisking its tail. It's not eating grass. It's just standing there. So we see you driving along. There you go.
Well, I mean, I was going to switch on the blues and twos just, and turn up at the house. But this sheep's odd. I think I need to just get over the fence and look at this sheep.
Mm-hmm. So you walk up to this sheep. It doesn't move an inch.
Walk around it. And, a couple of meters away, just walk around it, kind of, just, whoa, go.
Let's do an investigate. So, does Buddy have any expertise that would help here?
I mean, he's nimble, so if something untoward were to happen, he could jump backwards. But I think in terms of investigating something, I'm not certain he does, unless he's a thief.
Yeah, I'll give you. Either one of those will be enough. I like your reasoning. So let's give you got one die there. Do you have the perfect tool for the job?
No.
No, I don't think so.
I'm not sure
you
what the perfect tool is, but I don't.
But I'm not even sure what that would be. But short of that, no significant advantage.
I mean, it's a sheep, but I can probably outthink it.
Yeah.
No,
probably, maybe not. But then stress.
I don't think I dare at this point.
Okay.
So a single D.
I think it's a single die.
A 3.
I'm going to say no one's got a miss today.
No. Well, thanks for mentioning that just as I roll the dice. Yeah, but, I appreciate that.
I pulled out the classic last month of somebody was rolling 4 dice, and I said, well, you can't fail. And of course they did.
Yeah.
You find only enough to allow the plot to move forward, and your findings are limited, obsolete, or unreliable. In addition, the GM makes a move. If a threat is introduced, you must complete the stare into the void move before doing anything else. Okay, so I think what you see, the sheep doesn't move an inch. You know, you get close, you move around, you shake your hands, you wave, you clap your hands. Doesn't move an inch. You see that there is this strange mist around its head. You know, gravitating this fine mist. You wouldn't notice it until you get up close, like you have, and you know, after a moment or two, you see this mist sort of like flow back through the skin into the sheep's head. This is pretty weird. Gain of stress for that too.
Yeah, I think that's weird.
And you also you hear like the moaning, or I'm not sure what kind of sound you describe a sheep in pain making, but you hear a sheep in pain from down in the brush, and that you can't see it, but in that overgrown area past the broken fence, you hear some sheep sounds, pained sheep sounds.
There is no way Buddy is going in there. This is all very odd. He's particularly stressed. He goes swiftly up to the Winthrop farm, you know, to complete his investigations.
Do you drive your four-wheeler back up there? It's maybe another 100 yards or so.
Yeah.
Okay, so you jump back on your four-wheeler, peels out. It's all electric, by the way.
Nina, no question about that this time.
You put your siren on?
I do.
Okay. So you pull up to the house, and you know, you turn off your siren, you turn off the engine. The engine's quiet because, like I said, it's electric, so it doesn't make much noise at all. You hear a whistling sound like a teapot from inside the house, and you see the front door is wide open. In fact, it's busted down. It's broken.
Oh, shit. This is Deputy Buddy. Marge? Marge? Can you hear me, Marge?
Yep. It's crackly, but she comes in.
Oh yeah. Look, I think that I think the sheriff needs to see this. There's some weird stuff up here. Somebody's broken into the Winthrop farm, and I've just done my job here. Okay. I expect double community hours on this one.
Look, let me patch you into the sheriff. He was just heading over to Jones Tavern.
Sheriff, look, somebody's broken in up here. The door's busted in. You know, it's not just the sheep's behaving really strangely. You know, you need to see this, Sheriff.
Sheep?
It's just standing there like a statue, and there's this stuff coming in and out of its head.
All right. And I think he's like,
damn it, Moss, this is serious.
Hand the door, like, buddy, stay there, right? I'll be with you shortly, all right?
I want to behave badly.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, it sounds like maybe you're going there. Okay, so behind it sounds like more you just. Go ahead.
Sorry, my wife was worried about me.
Oh, you're all right. Your character not so much. Yes. So you it sounds like you're either behaving badly or losing it, depending on how you want to phrase it.
I think
either way,
swearing down the walkie-talkie at Moss and losing it.
Okay. So let's do the overwhelm move. So we'll call it lose it. Describe how you lose your self-control or overwhelmed by emotion for at least a few moments, then roll. Use expertise that would help you pull yourself back together after your emotional outburst. Does Buddy have any expertise to help pull himself back together?
I guess he is a thief, so he's found himself under pressure before.
Okay, I'll buy it. Here's 1. does he have the right tool for the job? This is to pull himself back together.
No.
In most cases, this would be like declaring that you have drugs or something. But
Yeah.
The
short of
deputy's
that, no. What's that?
The deputy's badge that he was given.
I was wondering whether that would be a narrative advantage.
Yeah. Either way, if you want to buy into being a deputy, that it gives you some courage. Sure.
I think that I realized that I was given a job to do, and it's the first time he's ever trusted me with anything really, and I just get a grip, buddy.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so maybe we even see the sheriff, leaning into that, being like,
buddy, I need you. I need you to stay calm. Yeah.
We see you look down, kind of look at the badge, on your shirt.
Deputy.
The deputy badge.
I didn't give you that badge for nothing, deputy.
Yeah. Go ahead and add that badge to your gear too. And by the way, you're not limited to the slots on the gear. You can add more gear to notes and stuff. So
yeah.
Okay. So, anyways, so we'll say that either significant advantage or the right tool for the job. Either way, we'll give you another die. It's 2. Do you want to take a stress to try to lose stress?
No.
All right. So you got 2 dice to roll to pull yourself together.
A 1 and a 3.
Well, the good news is on this move, even if you get a failure, you do get to lose 1 stress.
Okay.
So that's the good news. The bad news is on a 1 to 3, I get to make a move, and you have to face some consequences. On a miss, you choose none, but I choose 3 consequences from that list.
Wow.
I think your actions upset another. I think Buddy's distress is upsetting the sheriff, so I'm going to have the sheriff take a stress.
Sounds good to me.
I think you are dazed or stunned. Any threat introduced in the scene will force you to stare into the void. And
I clearly have made a lot of noise.
Yes, great.
Yeah, and I think you made a lot of noise. Let's add a stress. That reminds me too, I should have added. So I add stress when we enter a dangerous scene. I should have been adding as we went. So the boat was potentially dangerous, so I'll put one there. This spot's potentially dangerous. The pier wasn't necessarily so I won't add one for that. And then I'll add one for all the noise you're making right now.
Yeah, that seems fair.
And you, Buddy, you're talking, you look down at your badge, you start to pull yourself together, and you look up, and something is crawling out of the open door. It's a little bit like a spider. It's a little bit like a crab. It's about the size of both your hands put together. With all the long, spindly fingers. It's got a whippy tail. It comes running out, and you're probably like, "What the fuck?" Or "What is that?" You're shocked.
I stare into the void.
You're going to have to stare into the void. Now, the stare into the void, let me describe this. I just find it hard to describe it. I don't want to confuse you guys. I'm sure we did it last year, but this isn't what you do. This is just like to be able to react in this shocked moment, okay? So the classic version of this from the movies is when Brett goes into the chain room with all the dripping water in Alien, and he's just like, "Here, kitty, kitty, kitty," and he turns around, and there's the xenomorph in front of him. And he missed his roll, and he's killed. It does its worst. So if you don't do something, this thing will automatically do its worst to you, right? So in thinking about it, this isn't what you do. This is how you're able to do anything, able to psychologically pull yourself together enough in this split-second moment to take action before that bad thing happens. And I think what we'll do is we will leave it there as a cliffhanger for next week.
I mean, I just want to put it out there how great it would be if Alan's character is impregnated with a xenomorph in the first session, and then the rest of the sessions are just like,
just a ticking time bomb.
It might be at the very start of the second session. We'll see. All right. Well, thank you very much, guys. That was a lot of fun. We covered some good ground. I really, stars and wishes. I'll just jump into my own ideas while I'm thinking about it. You guys did an incredibly good job of instinctively putting narrative elements in that will be very useful for me to use and as we move forward in the story. So I appreciate that. Very skillful use of your opportunities to put forward some narrative elements. An example of that, which comes to mind, but Will did it too. But Alan, you the log, the whole thing, you creating the log and then using that to validate your reveal of your exclusive rights, and then mixing that in with Old Ned and the Nautilus. That was really well done, and it instinctively fit really well into sort of as written the plot line of the story. So that was really nice. But yeah, let's go around to a little bit of stars and wishes. I'll think of anything else, but that was the first thing that come to my mind. Let me start with you, Alan. If you have any stars and wishes, you can do them all at the same time. Also, any game feedback, if any thoughts come to you about the game itself, mechanically, or how it structures, how it runs, I'd be curious to hear all of that stuff.
Well, yeah, my first star was going to be, I think that the dice feel much more intuitive to me than turning cards, but that's because I think if you're around a table, cards work, but I think a dice is just and it's a mechanic that I'm vaguely familiar with, so it's that's great. So no, that's the only observation I've got at this point, I think, in terms of the mechanics and a star for you. Yeah, I like the way that Curtis Moss takes on the mayor and puts the mayor in his place. I just want to open the beaches, Sheriff. It's delightful. And I think there is a general star, again, Jason, to you, about how there's enough jaws in here to be working with. So that's, that does a lot of heavy lifting in terms of setting. So that's great. And though Daniel is gone, I like our surfer dude. I think, a surfer dude with a habit who used to be a doctor is just great. Wishes, I just want to see where this goes. I just love the way that these kind of games just develop process, the plot, the narrative, the arc. Yeah, just let it roll. That's my wish.
Okay, great. Thank you. Will?
Yeah, I'd second that the Jaws scaffolding really does help, because it gives me an instant, like, I've been toying with, I'm doing Dying Hard and Hard Light Station. I'm toying with how much to lean into, like, it's Die Hard but on a space station with aliens as well, and this is making me more and more lean towards rip as much of the movie as possible, because like you're not actually locked into just recreating the movie, but you are it gives you a strong like character motivation, because the setup, the everything, right? And I think that's worked really well, particularly because our two like Moss is the only one who's in that role, right? But like the other two characters are great characters to just sort of be involved in this version of the story, like the side of things. And I really like that we've got a drug dealer and a corporate spy / thief as the companions to the I had xenocultist as my other agenda, and criminal is my background. And I was like, criminal sheriff could be interesting, but xenocultist sheriff, I think that's going to be too working against everybody, So I just thought I'd lean straight into the obvious choice, which I think worked really well. Sometimes the obvious choice is great, right? So that's another star for the system. I prefer the dice. I agree with Alan. I really like Zombie World's card drawing system. I've really liked the card drawing thing when we've played together, Jason, when we did our Zombie World run, for example. But the dice are quicker, they're easier. They make sense easier. You don't have to do any like shuffling, Roll20 mechanics, etc. So it's just inevitably easier. Interestingly, I like all of the individual moves for stuff. But one thing that I found when I introduced it to like role-playing game newbies is that they struggle to remember any mechanic that isn't just 3, like 2 moves. Like I've been playing Monster of the Week with someone for like 4 sessions, and I still have to remind them about the difference between basic moves and character moves. So I did a version of Alien Dark that stripped out as many of the here's a side mechanic, here's a different mechanic, and turned it into one resolution. And we both came up with we both went back to the Blades in the Dark default of if you end up with 0 dice, you roll 2 dice and take the worst result. I've done that as like you might have a dice removed if the GM says that there's something working against you in terms of like, load or whatever, right? But it's interesting to see how me going through Alan's like mechanics, which are ripped from Cartel and stuff, is also seeing you like come to similar conclusions in this, but across the other ones. And wishes wise, I mean, obviously we all need to get on that boat at some point. That's inevitable. I am working my way fictionally towards why we end up on Quint's, the same boat together. I think I mean, I did already state my wish. It feels a cruel wish to say, but my wish is that Buddy misses that role and stare into the void. Right. And when Sheriff Moss arrives, it's just a case of I must have fallen and hit my head. I don't remember what happened. Sheriff.
Oh yeah, I saw this thing, Sheriff, and and I think you need to come with us on Quint's boat. I think I know where we're going to go.
Yeah.
That's true. In some ways we need to keep Buddy around because he's got some important story information.
But Facehugger Impregnation is the perfect one for he's not going to get ripped apart and I find him there. He's going to wake up, bruise on the back of his head and be like, oh, I've got a horrible cough now that I've been out to the farm. But maybe obviously I'm not rooting for Alan's character too.
Yeah, we will massage the narrative however we need to, but that would be interesting. It's one of those things I always think about in all alien fiction and media. There's such a diversity in how long it takes to get implanted by a facehugger, and when it falls off, it changes every story. They massage it however fits their own story. Sometimes it takes seconds, sometimes it takes like a day.
That's my wish, is that we stick to the time-honored tropes of the alien universe and we do not overthink how long it takes for
it occurs to me
for the story.
It occurs to me another wish actually. It would be very helpful to have 1 or 2 NPCs on the boat, just in case. Because once they're on the boat, it will mean introducing somebody else is going to be a little bit trickier, conceivably. But
we have Quint, at least.
Yeah,
it's an NPC.
But we'll figure out a reason to bring someone else. Yeah,
Hooper's the no-brainer.
Yeah. I thought of Hooper earlier because you guys were like, there was a moment where I thought you might need a scientist to answer a question that came up, but I forget what it was. But
I will make in the notes. I will say, Moss is weird enough, doesn't know what's going on. Strange things are happening. If we're going out on the boat and we don't know what it is, then we need Hooper to identify, catalog whatever the species is, so that we, don't get screwed over by Weyland-Yutani at the very least.
Yeah. There was something else I thought. Can't think of what it was. Okay. Well, if it's important, it'll come to me and I'll say next week. Any last thoughts? Say goodbye for now.
Do publish.
Okay. Oh yeah, publish. It's good. I'll make a point of asking. I guess Daniel said it was okay with them regardless. So we'll go with it.
He did.
So we will go with it, and I will see you guys next Sunday. Very well done. Nice to see you.
Yeah, great to play again, guys. Looking forward to next time.
Yep.
See you.
See you soon. Bye now.
Bye-bye.